from the Team of Destiny. We are humbled and honored to be on here on this stage, and I just wanted to thank my wife for all the changing and growing she's done, just to read and to put up with me for the years that we've been building the business, and I want to share it with you right now. My wife, Anna.
We are so excited to be here, and I want to read this quote that I read out of a book, and it just pertains so much to this business. It's from Mark Twain, and it says, "Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But the really great make you feel that you too can become great." And you know why I think that this pertains to this business so much is because I'm sure that anybody that's in this business has had someone try to steal your dream. But I also know that if you're in this business, you are among the great. Just look around. And you might not believe it yet. I know I struggled with belief that we could do it. But you guys, you are great, and you can do this business. And we are so blessed. We thank God every day for bringing Chris and Terry Brady, our personal sponsors, who are our new diamonds, into our life. They are the great, and they believed in us. And they showed us this plan. And anybody that's in this room tonight, you may not believe it now, but there's somebody that showed you the plan that believes it, that believes that you're great and that you can become one of the great. And we aren't done yet. We don't believe that we've arrived in any way. We're going to keep going, and we're going to join Orrin and Lori Woodward, Chris and Terry Brady, Team of Destiny Diamonds.
All right, everybody, good job. All right. Listen up, gang, listen up. All you guys way back there, nudge the person next to you, wake them up, say, hey, listen to this guy. See, I want you all to hear this because I was the guy that wasn't supposed to make it. See, I was the guy out in the crowd that had a low self-image. I was the guy that, just a young punk kid. I started when I was 23, 24 years old in the business. Today, I'm 27 years old. See, when I started, I was about 135 grand in consumer debt, credit cards, loans, and I got a dowry of half of it. And, so we thought two could live as cheap as one, like Jerry Meadows says, and I was just real shy. I was not supposed to make it. I was maybe feeling like some of you. I was kind of feeling like, well, it works for those guys, but it wouldn't work for me. I was the guy that was super shy, always thought of other people in an extreme way more than I thought of myself. We didn't have the best marriage. I wasn't a leader, and my wife was negative. But she's changed and grown since then, and she now runs the business, and I work for her. I come from an engineering background. I was fired 4 times. The 5th time I fired them. When we started out, somewhere, maybe someone like you, we got our car repossessed twice. We had to remortgage our house twice. Each time at a higher interest rate. Not real smart. I was hiding out playing ice hockey all the time, 3 to 4 nights a week, and after ice hockey, I'd go drink some negative beverages, try to forget about the day. You see, I wasn't supposed to make it. I was like some of you maybe feel. Those guys make it. You got to be special to make it in this business. But I was the guy that wasn't supposed to make it. And along comes a couple, Chris and Terry Brady. They plucked me off the rag pile of life. Me and Anna, Chris and Terry Brady. And I get emotional. If you don't have the CD Diamondscapes, get that. There's a track on there by Glenn Wallentine. It reminds me of Chris Brady. You see, some of you don't understand how someone can get emotional. But when you allow yourself to be taught, and you allow somebody to help you through your struggles, and you allow somebody to teach you some things you don't know, you can get emotional when you have a victory. See, because I knew what it felt like to be a loser. And I thought, what if Chris Brady said, you know what, it's too far to drive over to show Mark the plan, or I'm scared, or I don't feel like it, or I don't have money to buy tapes to loan him, or I'm scared, or maybe he had a fight with his wife Terry. What if he had let something like that stop him from showing me the plan? And I want you to think about that real seriously, because the relationship that me and Anna have with Chris and Terry, it would never be if Chris and Terry wouldn't have poured their life into us. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, Chris and Terry. We love you guys. We want each and every one of you to win. We want each and every one of you to throw away your excuses, to get out there and be something for somebody else, to pluck somebody off the rag pile of life and help them become a champion. See, I know what it's like to feel like a loser. I know what it's like to have my wife not respect me. But because of this environment, the tapes and the books, and a mentor and a leader like Chris and Terry Brady, they plugged us into a system. They believed in us. They helped us. They encouraged us. They led with vision. They taught us how to lead with vision. They plugged us into a system again, and just tape after tape, book after book, and taught us how to build depth. You have to build depth. So I want you to go pluck somebody else off the rag pile of life. Help them believe in themselves, believe in them, help them, coach them, love them. And I'll leave you with this. I wish you struggles. I hope you struggle. But I hope you have the courage to follow through and push through the struggle so you can become champions too. See, I know what it's like to have a victory now because of this environment and because of hanging tight to a mentor, Chris and Terry Brady. We love you guys. God bless.
Well, watching two performers like Dave and Dex up here reminds me of a saying I heard. I can't remember if it was on tape or somewhere. Somebody said, all men are self-made. Only the successful ones admit it. And I thought about that. You know, if you're a failure, you're self-made because you're either going one direction or another. And so they talked on stage today about like the truth, you know, about being honest with people. And sometimes we're a little too honest, I guess. I really don't know, but I just, there's no sense in fluffing things, you know. There's no sense in telling people anything other than the truth. Actually, at open meetings or board plans, whatever it is we're doing, I'm always telling people that this is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. I mean, I don't think anything worthwhile is going to be easy. But on the other hand, this is easy relative to anything else that would make you a multimillionaire. This is easy relative to anything else that'll kill you in the process of making you a multimillionaire. Right? And so when somebody says, Andy, this was hard, this was tough, you know, it must have been a lot of hard work, I understand immediately they're talking from a non-business owner or non-businessman point of view. I say, you've never been in business before. They say, no, how do you know? It shows. It's obvious. Was this hard? Entrepreneurs never ask, is this going to be hard or easy? As entrepreneurs, we've never thought that would be an option, hard or easy. All entrepreneurs want to know is, will it be worth it? Can I get the desired result out of this? We're willing, I think people that are willing to get into their own business are willing to do anything to get the result, provided it's, you know, obviously in this business, you know, we cover all the bases, provided it's legal, ethical, and moral. We just want to know what we need to do. We don't care about this. We might have to work hard. That's, you know, that's baloney. People say that all the time. I mean, I still have relatives who think we work all the time. You know, we obviously have two definitions of work. I guess if we're at lunch with, you know, platinums or sapphires, emeralds, if we're at lunch with somebody in our group, they consider that work. They always ask stupid stuff, you know, like when you're going on a trip, you know, is it work or is it vacation? They're so concerned for you. So, well, you know, just pleasure mainly. Oh, good, good. Such concern. I say, hey, you know, wow, you're worrying I might be overworking? Yeah, you shouldn't work too hard, you know? And it's funny because if they understood, if they followed me around all day, which they don't, they'd figure out I do less hours of work a week than they do. But they're always, what are you going for? Is it work or is it pleasure? And it's, I get such a kick out of it. Everybody's concerned. My barber, I've been going to him for like 20 years, and I don't know, the more hair he sees, I think the more intelligent he gets. But he says things to me like, but you must, hate this. He says, you're traveling all the time. I said, yeah. I said, and you not at all. I said, how does it feel? I said, I'm at one end of the spectrum, you're at the other. I don't know. It's like, here's a guy looking at heads all day, and they say things like that. But I travel around. We go to Greece or somewhere, or go to Europe, go to South America, anywhere we might be going, all over North America, and people say like, oh, how was the flight? Oh, these flights must be tiring. I said, no. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I've figured out an efficient system. I've kept the flapping down to a minimum. I said, are you kidding me? You're sitting, and if you're in business class, you're sitting back in a big chair and TV screens in front of you, and they're always feeding you. You should go on Air France. Business class, unbelievable. It's like you're sitting in a French restaurant for about 4 hours. They're serving, and telling that, slow down, there's another course coming. Oh, yeah. She gets all excited. She loves it. So the one thing about the truth is that people don't understand what the truth is about what we do. They don't follow our lifestyle. They don't understand the truth of that nothing is going to be easy. Okay, this is the easiest of all of them. Because when you think about the fact that we own a passive income, that I don't have to do anything today in order to earn, this is the easiest thing on the planet. When you consider what we don't do, because you can talk to all the diamonds and they'll tell you, our lifestyle comes from what we don't do in order to earn the income. We couldn't possibly work hard enough today to earn what we earn. Does that make any sense? But that's all come from the work we've done in the past. What we do today is to develop for the future. Whatever we do today is we're just building some more, because people ask you that question. What are you doing in this living room if you're doing so well? Because you've been edified, people bring you up, they're all excited. And then, people are thinking this question, how come you're here? There's like 12 people in this room. And I said, well, this is where I'm starting a group that'll give me a passive income 5 years from now. You want to be one of them? So the groups that are developing passive income with me, I don't really do anything for that passive income. If I want their passive income to grow, I give them a little bit of a hand, keep the wheel going. And they've never thought this way. They've never thought about developing a system, that'll give you money far greater than the efforts you're putting in. Because if you're doing it, if you're getting paid on your efforts, it's going to be temporary, right? Whether you're a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it might be, the dentists are a funny bunch anyways, it's like, who would want to be a dentist, right? It's like, mine told me, he's a friend of ours, and he says, I like being a dentist. You are one sick puppy. How can you like being a dentist? I mean, I see what you do. I've seen it. It's like, how do you pick it as an 18-year-old? How do you pick being a dentist? You ever seen an 18-year-old? I mean, I've seen them with posters of like firemen and astronauts on their walls. I've never seen kids with posters of a root canal on their wall. Or a dentist, with a needle. Right? How do you like sticking needles in people's craniums? I said, you're sick. They never thought of it that way, People say it's good. My upline, Frank Mazzio, he tells me all kinds of dentist stuff. He says, they don't want to be there. He says, if they tell you they do, they're lying. There's only so much decay you can want to work on. So people tell you all kinds of things, and the truth is people just don't understand the truth, the reality of what's going on, because they don't think things through. I've had people tell me things like, Andy, it's over, it doesn't work, this thing's finished, there's no future in it, that's why, it's too late. But, 10 years ago was the time to do it, right? You ever get that? You ever get people tell you that? And so I said, well, why am I continuing to do it? Wouldn't you agree that I know more about this than you? And they say, yeah. I said, well, if I'm earning my income from this, why would I keep doing it? Oh, he says, well, you're already successful. You're already doing well. I said, no, you're not addressing the issue. I said, we know that I'm collecting a passive income from the work I'm doing. But if there's no future in it, why am I continuing to do it? In other words, I talked to you about this business. I showed you the plan. Why would I show you the program if there was no future in this? If we make our money as a percentage of the results you get, not the efforts you put in, but the results you get, why would I help you make nothing? If I knew there was no future, two choices. That either makes me stupid, or I know something you don't know. I put the ball in you. Now you got to figure it out. For $100, it's like, nah, it's not for real. Or for $100, yeah, I'll take my chance that this guy knows what he's doing. That's why we said, when Ray was coming up, 6 hours from Massachusetts to Montreal, it's like, hey, I was telling my friends, they didn't trust him or know him or anything. I said, the guy's coming up 6 hours. There's got to be something to it. He's either a moron or he knows something I don't know. And for $100, I'm gonna find out. For $100, it's not worth finding out 30 years later you're wrong. That's a dumb investment, right? And for $100, it doesn't pay to think about it for a week. A week to save $100. Actually, you get products, so it's less than $100. My goodness, what's your time worth? Just get in and start doing it. It's the only way you can find out. So because you guys are leaders here, I'll assume you're leaders because you decided to get here today. That's good. That's a big step. It's like a lot of people could have left and had things to do, I know, but it's never a things to do issue. It's always a priority issue. And so they're not here. That's cool. There wasn't any prerequisite for being here, right? Other than the doors are open, come here, right? Which, congratulations to you. But now it's like also, besides being responsible for being here, we can attend, we can be passive participants by being there. But how about now doing it? See, you guys are the ones that are going to have to give the example to your people. They're looking up to you. Just the fact that you were here an extra afternoon, you have the edge over your downline. You're the one that knows a little bit more. Don't let them convince you that they know more than you. This is the thing Dexter and Don Storms have been telling us for years. Don't let them convince you they know more than you. Don't act like a smart aleck. Put the ego on the side, but understand that if you know that much more, you know that much more. And that's all you really need. But if you don't back it up with the action, if you don't take responsibility and do what it is you need to do, then they're going to look down at you, because even if you think you know more, if they're doing more, then you're like, up a creek without a paddle type of thing. You're stuck. You can't prove it because they're watching your every move. Have you ever noticed your downline knows your whole group? I have downline that know my my organization better than I do. I'll make a mistake about who's in what group, but they won't. They know. They say, no, he's in that group. Oh, really? How do you know? Oh, well, I was just watching last time, and they know everything. They know how many of your pins are crossing stage. They're looking at everything. Now, if I'm talking to somebody who comes and tells me something about their upline, like if you guys came to me as a leader and you started complaining about your upline, I would say, well, what's that got to do with anything? Has your upline stopped you from putting in enough personals so you can go diamond? No. But they're working with my guys. Well, that's okay. Well, they're screwing it up. Well, why don't you get so many that they couldn't run hard enough to screw up your whole organization? You see, one thing we understood, we had to protect our upline. We had to protect our upline even from our attitude, because one thing was guaranteed: your upline's going to screw up somewhere. Relative, of course, to how you think. In your eyes, they will screw up somewhere. And if you get down on them for that, you just shot yourself in the foot. They're human beings just like you, because if you don't allow your upline to screw up, then we shouldn't allow your downline to allow you to screw up. You follow me? In other words, when your downline comes to us and says something about you, we should say, you're right, he's a bobo. He's a dummy. You're right. He thought his upline was a dummy, and so, well, he must be too. Because takes one to know one type deal, right? Usually people have a problem with what they are. They have a problem with what they're having a problem with. If their upline is walking into their growth area, you can see it immediately. And so I try to challenge people to look past that. And you know what? How are you ever going to go diamond if you can't look past your upline's shortcomings? This is a support team. Anybody that you choose to train, whether Dave was training you, whether you were personally sponsored with Dexter, you will start to see some of their shortcomings. And if you can't get over that, you're not in a mental state to be a diamond. And if you do somehow drag 6 people to diamond, I've seen people do that. If you do somehow drag those 6 people to diamond, you're going to have to fence them in. Have to keep them tied down. So people are looking up to you. So all the time we're thinking about learning, doing, and teaching. So everything you're about to do, whether you complain about an upline, whether you have a certain problem that you can't handle, you have a little bit of debt and you go down the easy road, you say, I want to go bankrupt or whatever, just think of yourself like being on stage about to teach people how to overcome their obstacles. What are you going to teach them? What are you going to say? Well, I just have problems with my upline, so I went and found somebody else I could work with. Well, that's wonderful. It says, what? I said, you just made my life difficult. It says, why? I said, because when your downline comes and tells me they don't want to work with you, I'm going to have to, give in? What are you talking about? I'm a great upline. We don't do to our downline what our upline does to us. Isn't that the... Never heard nobody do that? I've heard people say that. You haven't heard anyone say that? My mother-in-law even says that. She talks to me, get this, she talks to me because everybody you see is screwing up at a relative level. You know, right? I mean, you go see another couple, right? You're having marriage problems, you see another couple, they're having marriage problems, but it's to the extent where she's throwing things. Or they say bad words to each other. And you say, well, we're not like that. I mean, we might be having problems, but whoo, are they? It makes you feel good, you know? My mother-in-law says that. She talks to me about her son or about somebody else, and you do this and you do that, and I said, Gina, I said, not everybody's perfect. You're trying to tell me you haven't screwed up or you haven't made those mistakes. Ready for the answer? What's the answer? Yeah, but not like that. There's always the yeah, but not like that, right? It's like, no, I didn't say I'm perfect, but I'm less of a screw up than that person. I'm not perfect, but my upline, this guy takes the cake. We don't do those things to our downline. We take care of our downline. We do this and we do that. And I said, that's funny, you know, because I had a downline of yours come and tell me about how you were affecting him in a negative manner. What? Who was that? I'll take care of this right away. Need to respect people up and down the line. I don't know if it's a theme between me and Nadia today about talking about that, but it's so very vital that you understand you don't have a problem upline or downline. You have a problem right here. We're not diamond, we're not double diamond because we don't have it up here. There's things we got to do. I can make all the excuses in the world why we didn't go or why we're not double diamond or why we're not even EDC, but I'm choosing to look past that. I can sit here and tell you all about that, and you're going to say, here's what the average person is going to say. But Andy, what are you worrying about? I mean, you're a diamond. If I was a diamond, I wouldn't be worrying about that. It's maybe one of the reasons why you'll never be a diamond. Ambitious people are ambitious people. You're chasing a dream or you're not chasing a dream. You don't chase a dream for a bit and then you stop and it's over. If you think that's all that I'll ever need, boy, I'll be satisfied there. Who says you're not satisfied now? If you can justify being satisfied there, you can justify being satisfied anywhere. I know what you're saying. If the coach fell out of the sky, somebody misplaced it, dropped it off on your lawn, it happened to be there, I'll take it. Wow! but it's not going to be it. How can you like work towards doing what you got to do to get a coach, right? Which will cost you like at least $7,500 a month if you've paid for it already. Okay? Right, Don? Give or take. Okay, depending on how many drivers you have, stuff like that. And I'm thinking, it's like, if you're going to do what you need to do to get it, what do you stop when you get it? That's it, I don't need any more. Once you've gotten into the habit of achieving and the discipline of doing what you need to do, you can't stop it. That's why you got to put it into motion. You got to keep, like shedding all those thoughts of like, we're doing okay. The minute you hit a little obstacle, you start thinking backwards. You start saying, well, I could get that promotion at work, and I could do this, and I could do that. And that's where most people make the mistake, is they don't burn their bridges. I started cutting back my hours at the store. You know what I mean by cutting back my hours? On the nights that we closed at 6, I left at 7. That was cutting back. I know it'll take you a while to figure that out, but that week I cut back. I wouldn't leave like late nights on Thursday, Friday. I wouldn't leave like at 11, 11:30 by the time we wrapped everything up, because when the employees punched their clock and went home for a barbecue, Andy and his partner stayed back to finish up the job. Because that's why they call it business owner. They said, we weren't business owners, the business owned us. And so I started like at Thursday, Friday. I said, well, we finish up like about 9:30, 10 at night. Well, I can't blow this day. So you know what I did? I would look for single guys to show it to in a restaurant, like, because, young guys, single, living at home, what are they doing at like 10:30 at night anyways? Nothing. They're just hanging out, looking for things to do, They're like watching TV. You can call them, hey, why don't you meet me Thursday night? Why don't you meet me Friday night before you go out anyways? So I said, meet me at like 10:30 at the deli. We'll be down there. And man, that's done pretty good for me. I got at least one sapphire leg out of this young guy who didn't want to do the business. You'll get that later too. So that's why people are always saying, man, I wonder if he can build it or not. Who cares? Who do they know? I'm not looking at them for what they can do, because jury's out. We don't know. We're just looking for like, who do you know? We want to develop a relationship. They will show us how involved they want to be in this program. In the meantime, let's go show it to somebody else. Let's start developing depth so that at least we can give you a reason to stay in long enough and figure this thing out. Now, we have the best technology on planet Earth. And it's not, are you ready? It's not Quickstar or the website. That technology is so available and so widespread, we don't have like something so unique. It's just another website as far as I'm concerned. And if you're good enough to point out the technological differences between our website and another one, you need to get a life. I don't know what the difference is. It's like, yeah, it looks cute. It's nice. I remember guys, these webmeisters, telling me before it opened up, well, Andy, I'm going to check out the website when it opens. We'll see if it works. I say, how do you know the difference between a good website and a bad one? He says, well, that's what I do. I develop websites. Okay, just a quick question here. I said, have you ever had a website where you were able to go out and develop millions of dollars worth of business or hundreds of thousands of dollars profit? No. I said, so you don't know which one works or doesn't work. You'd be guessing, right? Well, no, just that I'm good at building them. Okay, that's good. Well, we are building one, and the top guys from Microsoft and Fry Multimedia are there doing it right now. Did they forget to call you? Did they miss you? We better call them. There's a hot guy right here. Yeah. How'd they overlook you? He's looking at me, So you don't have a multi-million-dollar website, and yet, according to who these guys have hired to develop theirs, and who Microsoft has on staff, and Fry Multimedia and IBM, you're not the best at building them either. Huh. See, everybody tries to act smart. The minute you figure out that their technology is not what we need, they need our technology. And our technology is given to us from Internet Services Corporation as a development system, tapes, CDs, books, seminars like this. We have the #1 network development technology on the planet. Nobody can beat our technology. A combination of your organization and team with the development system, nobody can touch us. There's nobody who's got, you know, I challenge anybody, get even one better than what we have. They don't have anything better. To get into development system and the intricacies and 40 years of experience and people who have actually done it and make a lot of money with the networks they currently have. Not networks they had for a year or two. And we realize we have the best technology. So when I talk to technology guys, techies, you know, and I say, you know, this business stuff, and they say, well, I'm a technology expert. I said, well, do you have a network development technology at your disposal? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, do you have technology for the network development, human networks, consumer networks? He says, no. I said, then yeah, that's a whole other area, buddy. That's not your discipline. You know nothing about what we do. You might know about websites, but, you know, I'll give you the phone number. You can call the guys in Michigan if you have somebody to contribute there. And they look at you funny. Now, if we got the best technology, it's just a question of applying it. Now, the funny part is we talked about you being able to invest in your business the other day, being able to give people some tickets or give people some tapes because they don't know enough for them to give them, you know, to buy them off you necessarily right off the start. And here's the key. What you spend on yourself is not a business investment. You know, I get guys all the time coming to me. I mean, this is like 2 years later. And yeah, I don't know, it's like not working. I spent all this money on the business. I said, really? You spent all this money on the business? Well, what did you do? Where did you spend all this money on the business? Because I know you didn't put a lot of gas in your tank. Where's all this money in the business? I mean, what do you have, like 100 ad packs? 1,000 follow-up tapes? Well, no, you know what I mean. He says I'm on video of the month, book of the month, tape of the week. I listen to anything you know, recommend, and I go to those functions all the time and the business conferences. So, yeah. He says, well, you know, I've spent quite a bit of money there and I don't have any results. I said, oh, you mean you spent money on yourself? So, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm sorry, but that's not business expense. Now, I know we expense it as a business expense. Right? But it's really not a business expense. As a dentist, when you start up your dental practice, and the first 2 years you put down in your tax return, if you put down your 4 or 5 or 18 years of college that it took you to get it, as your business expense, would the government laugh you right out of a deduction? I know they would in Canada. Would they here? Yeah, they you say, can I deduct my college education, you know, for becoming a dentist, becoming a doctor? They go, no, you're not allowed. I don't know, maybe you're allowed here. But they'll allow you to expense your equipment. They'll allow you to expense anything you spend for your clients, for your patients. You went to college, that's your problem. That's your thing. All your, you know, school loans and everything, you got to pay that with net money. You got to pay that with net money. That's after-tax money. And so people like are just like kidding themselves when they spend money on themselves, developing knowledge, and then say they've had a business expense. How many of you can say the system's helped improve every area of your life, never mind your job and your marriage? Right? Relationship-wise, you name it. I mean, we'd be a mess if it wasn't for the system, because we were a mess. We just didn't realize it, because when you're a mess, you don't know you're a mess. You look back and you say, oh boy. And so we realize a business investment. But if somebody invests $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in the business, that means it would be equipped with ad packs and follow-up tapes and everything, all the tools to give out. The stuff you listen to is not tools. That's just information for you. It's not a tool. It's only a tool if you can use it to give to somebody, to build your business. Here, listen to this. And it sends information to somebody else. Whatever you listen to, whatever you read, that's not a tool. Therefore, it's not a business expense. So, you know, we kind of like stop the conversation right there. And I go, oh. Because what I found is the people that have bought lots of ad packs and follow-ups and stuff have a tendency to go out and use them. Or if they're going to go out and use them, they buy them. If somebody buys a lot of stuff and they're hanging on to like 100 ad packs, you know, and they say, well, you know, I haven't been able to do anything or nothing's happened. I said, well, were you going to use them? How many of you know people that want to buy their way into this business? They want to like buy some tools, they want to buy stuff, and they want to be there already. It ain't going to happen. So we got to look at the number of stuff that you spend your money on in order to help people. And you got to look at the numbers, okay, in order to get the volume. Now you heard Don and Ruth, I mean, what a fantastic job yesterday. I'm sure they were fabulous last night too. And they talked a lot about numbers. Don is a numbers guy. He's a numbers man. I mean, I can't believe a guy calculating, you know, on his way up to Massachusetts, calculating like how much money he'd make, you know? Like, a lot of times I'll talk to Don or he says things like that, and I feel like a moron, you know? I'm going, oh man, am I ever going to make it? You know, this guy's like, wow, he's so smart relative to me. But we all have our strengths. That was his strength. He's a numbers guy, and he would teach us from the beginning, from a long time ago, to always think in numbers, you know, just think numbers, think numbers, think numbers. Don't worry about PV. And I'm urging you guys to follow the numbers. You heard the focus board yesterday. We talked a little bit about it. The deeper you get, the more people you get involved, the bigger the numbers will grow, and you'll never have to worry about 7,500 PV. I know people that are killing themselves all the time trying to get 7,500 PV. We went diamond without like tracking PV. We never tracked PV. I mean, we didn't even like, you know, we didn't know what a reach order was till after we went diamond, and some colleagues decided to share with us. So really? Because if you develop a group big enough, you'll track the numbers and you'll see this much attendance at the functions, this many tapes going out, this much stuff, I should be at this much PV. Because if you know, if your group is doing less than 200 PV per person in attendance, you need to look at your product promotion. That's the way we've looked at it. Said, man, less than 200 PV, whew, somebody's not promoting products. Now, if I got a group that, you know, in attendance, they have like 500 PV per person, I'll say, well, that's great, you know, I'll take the check. How many of you will take the check? I don't refuse any volume. I love it. But I'll say, don't fool yourself into thinking you have a 10,000 PV network if you only have like 20 people showing up at the function. Is this making any sense? You could have the 10,000 PV and, wow, man, just, you know, thank God it's coming and just keep it rolling. But don't fool yourself into thinking it's anything stable. Don't fool yourself into thinking that's a solid 10,000 PV business. You all following me? So when people ask me, you know, as they get closer and closer to a pin level, and they ask me, you know, how's it looking, and, you know, should they, you know, somebody could be like 400 PV away, somebody could be 900 PV away, somebody, you know, and they start thinking, you know, they start, oh, it's exciting. And it could be exciting. They could even go over 7,500. That's wonderful. I'm excited. But I'm more focused on the focus board, on what they have down there, their attendance, the number of tapes, all that stuff. If a guy's approaching 7,500 PV, if he's approaching 7,500 PV and he tells me there's like, you know, 25 people coming to seminars, to business conferences, and there's like about 20 people or 25 people on tape of the week, or maybe 30 or something like that, I'll say, listen, 7,500 PV is not an issue right now. What you need to do is concentrate on your numbers. Focus in on getting more people on tape. Just keep building the group. How many of you would like to do something, whether it's platinum or emerald or diamond? How many of you would like to do it once and keep it done? Right? How many of you would like to, like, as you break platinums, you don't have to think about that group being a platinum anymore. You got to think now about the group, about who's going to go emerald in that group. Okay? So we look at the numbers. It's always been a big thing with me, and the biggest guys in my organization, in our organization, are the ones that also make that the most important thing for them. The people that are constantly looking at PV, you know, guys come and tell me, man, I'm at 4,000. I said, that's great. Fantastic. Way to go. Congratulations. Let's look at the numbers. I say, you got 8 people coming to the business conference. He says, yeah. I said, well, you didn't make any move up from the last month or two, and how many people come into business conference? You grew by 1,500 PV. Awesome. But where's the group? We need a group. We need a network. Come on. Let's get it going. And I keep them focused in on that. Keep them focused in. What did we say? The truth. I tell them the truth. That's the truth. Is that PV cannot sustain PV. Only people can sustain PV. You follow me? You want a big group doing a certain average of PV, whatever you determine it to be, and keep it solid. So when people come to me about their goals and they say, you know, like this lady the other day, somebody hasn't, get this, I don't know if you've had this happen in your group, you know, people do this, right? You heard Dave up here on stage talking about it, that, you know, guy comes in, took him 10 years to put on like 75 pounds, right? Walking around like this, you know, is having back problems, the whole deal. And he comes in, he says, well, how fast can I look like you? How fast can I like get down to where I have a washboard stomach? Can we do it by the end of the month? I'm on a schedule. This is what people do. And you're like, man, it took you 10 years to put it on. Give us at least a year to take it off. And they're like, oh, a year? People do that in this business. You know, they say, you know, oh, I can have a jet. You know, they say 15, 20 years, a jet? 15 years? Oh, man. So, well, are we ruining your current program? Sorry. I don't want to mess up your life, man. I just want to help. If 15 is doubling it up over what you already had planned, don't let me stop you. So people want to do it overnight. You know, so you get guys, haven't done much in the business, have barely been able to like break the 1,000 PV barrier. And they show up and they tell me that in 4 months, they want to be an emerald qualification. No problem. I'm sure it can be done. Personally, I can't tell you how to do it. I've never done it. I've never seen anybody in my group do it, go from like 0 to platinum qualification in 4 or 5 months, or even sapphire qualification. We're probably a slow group. Blood doesn't move as well in the cold, probably something like that, right? I don't know what it is. And so now you want to keep these people excited, right? How many of you understand that, right? You want to keep them excited. But you also have to tell them kind of like the truth. And the truth is that they're going to need a group. They got 4 months to have a certain amount of people in their business, because if they have less than that amount of people, even if they have the PV, I don't consider them a very, you know, solid emerald or like with any sticking power to them. So I want them to have like a certain amount of people, and that's going to take a certain amount of time. So here's what I do so that I don't sound like a bad guy. That's the great thing about the focus board, is they can't get upset with you. It's like they either did what was required or they didn't do what was required. And so I work and I say, okay, you know, we come up with a number and I say, all right, well, if you want that done in the next 4 months, that means you're going to need like 3 groups that go 7,500 points and get this many people, or that, you know, have that many attendance in the next 4 months. Let's say you get them all in by the first month. In 3 months, they got to get it done. They got to be silvers in 3 months. Now, the faster people get to silver, the less of a percentage it is of your group, right? In other words, if you have like 5 or 6 people go platinum, might be 1 or 2 legs that'll do it in like less than a year. Am I making sense? They say the average platinum goes in 18 to 24 months. So if you break 6 of them, some will do it like a little bit faster, some will do it a little bit slower. Very few will do it in 6 months. So you got to put the numbers to work for you. So I sit there and I go, let's have a look at this now. I said, you need in that first month, I said, to personally register, because the only way I can guarantee it is if you put the numbers behind it. You need to personally register about 25 to 30 people. They get all worked up. They go, what? That's a lot. Hey, bro, you want a lot. You want to be an emerald. In an emerald qualification, in 4 months, you're at 0. There's basically nothing happening. And you want to be an emerald. It can happen if you're willing to do it. Now, along with those fast silvers and platinums, You'll have some slower ones and slower ones. You put 25 to 30 people in this first month, I bet you'll be diamond in 24. I bet you'll be EDC in 36. If you just keep up that pace, you just dump the personals in. Can you do it? And usually it's somebody who's already blown their original list, which means they're in stage 2 of the business, which is taking people from 0 relationship to platinum, which is the most duplicatable part of our business, but it's also the hardest part of our business. So they could do only so much with their original list. I call it conversion factor, where you take the original list of names and you can convert them into a pin, which is either sapphire or emerald or diamond or whatever, and then you're on to stage 2, which means you got to go cultivate names for you to get more legs happening. And so they're past stage 1, they're on to stage 2, they need new list of names, and they want to be a emerald qualification in the next 4 months. So what we do is get them to understand that we got to ramp up. So I want you guys to come out of here not expecting, okay, if you haven't done it before, don't go out there thinking that you can register in the next month 30 personals unless you're willing to do the work. But don't get depressed by the first week because you haven't registered 7. If you haven't registered any in the last 6 months, how about we start with registering 1 this month? I know what happens. They come to me. They haven't registered in 6 months, anybody. They want to register 6 this month. And I know their original list is gone. It's kaput, finito. It's over. And I'm like, okay. All right, let's see. 5 or 6 personals this month. Well, you're going to have to contact, I don't know how many plans you need to show for that. Let's say 20, 25 personals you need to show this month. You're going to have to contact, I don't know, what's your contacting rate like, I said, you're ready to contact 100 or 125 people this month. And they look at me like, what? I said, well, I just want to guarantee that you do 5 or 6. You might get 10 because you're good. But when you get 6, stop. You might be 3 weeks into the month. I just want to guarantee it. And they go, 100 contacts? So yeah, 3 a day, no big deal. 3 a day, yeah. So you're ready to go out and contact 3 people a day. And what I mean by contact them is you might have to speak to maybe 10 to contact 3 for the business. They're looking, they want to do something. So very, very vital for people to know what it is they need to do. I don't have a problem with any goal people set. But I always work backwards and I say, here's what we need to do. Are you ready to do this? You're going to go from a standing start to 100 miles an hour. Are you ready? And so I think some of you would be good to realize that slow is fast. We've never been fast. We've just been consistent. That's all it ever was. Our upline emeralds came to us and they said, Andy, Natty, they said, you know what? You guys are not the fastest. I've seen people build this faster. I said, no, thanks. I think. But he says, you're the most consistent people we've had in the group. So, okay, great. And it turns out it worked out pretty good. So when you think about it, you know yourself better than anybody. And if you have a good relationship with your upline, they know you. Your spouse, chances are, knows you better than anybody else. Talk to these people and say, I want to start. What would I be good to start with? You think we can do 2 personals this month? Do you know if you do 2 personals a month for the next 36 months, you will have 72 new personals to pick from in the next 36 months? I mean, you'd have to, you'd have to sit in your bathtub with a blow dryer to not go diamond. Right? You got to be kidding me. How many of you would consider in the next 3-4 years, if you were diamond from where you're at now and what's happened in the last 6-12 months, how many of you would consider that flying? Right? Man, would you be doing good. You wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You'd be so busy, you have so many things to do. And you know what? 3 years down the road, as you're an emerald and you're on your way to diamond qualification, you know what people will be telling you? How'd you do it so fast? How'd you do it so fast? Because consistency is speed. Consistency builds up. It creates momentum. Don't try and burn yourself out in a month or 2 by showing 153 personal plans and then not doing another one for 6 months. Because you're toast. They sent you to the emergency ward. So you know what you're good at, what you can get done. Calculate when it's, when you're going to be able to go diamond. With what we have today, there's no reason why you guys can't be EDC in the next 36 months. I've given a challenge to my guys, and I said, I'm challenging you guys that I can beat you to double before you guys go diamond. And they look, here's the first thing. Well, you're a diamond already. I said, I know, which makes your job much easier. They said, how come? I said, because you don't have 6 legs that you're working with already. You get it? I said, we all got to do the same thing. I'm ready to go diamond again. If you're ready to go diamond once, I'll do it for a second time. You guys, you ready to do it? I'm up for the challenge. I mean, I'm doing it. Are you coming along? And they look at you real funny, Like, oh, geez, I don't know. I said, well, let's lay out a program. See if you're willing to do this. Let's go. When do you want to be a diamond? And we work backwards. Here's how many personals you need to contact. Here's how many new people you need to put on your list. Here's how many people you need to show the plan to. Here's how many legs you need to get going. Here's how many plans you do in this group and that group when you eventually get them going, and so on and so on. And we work it backwards, and we can see over the next 3 years how all of them can be diamonds. And they're so excited. They're so excited about it, but we got to keep track of them. And there's nothing worse than having a downline that you got to chase. They told you about all these goals, phenomenal goals. They want to do this, they want to do that, incredible stuff. You laid it out for them. You say, here's the game plan, bro, the truth. Here's what you need to do. Not, I think you can do it. Go for it, bro. I give them here's the plan. Here's what you need to do. Go. And you don't hear from them for like 5 weeks. I mean, they wave at you at the open, stuff like that. How's it going? Great. Doesn't say much, but great. And then, 6 weeks later, I got to call. So how's it going? When are we going to hook up? When are we going to connect? Do I have to call you to get together with you? Is this the kind of commitment you've made to this going diamond, like real fast? And so I know what one of the problems is sometimes is, well, I don't know what to tell them, like be accountable to my upline, but what am I going to call them and talk to them about? Aren't you in this business? Aren't you going to go diamond? Yeah, you have nothing to talk about. This guy's going to be your future best friend. You have nothing to talk about. You better start developing a relationship. Some of my guys would tell them, geez, you don't like talking to me? The trick that I used with my upline was just calling them irregardless. Do you know when you have to call them and talk to them, you kind of like push yourself to do something so you don't call them and sound like, You come and say, did this and this today, and then you start talking about cars, start talking about stuff, and you start developing a relationship. And then you have a great relationship where they can tell you what you need to learn and what you need to know, and you can absorb it without like getting all hung up and worked up, because now you've got a great relationship. You can take anything they tell you, but you got to start with the accountability up front. You got to start right away and say, I'm going to be after you. And you know what happens? When you decide to be accountable and chase them and go after them and call them, it's amazing how you'll program yourself to make sure you do something because I got to call them instead of, I'll wait till something happens to call them. Does that make sense? And we have great tools today like the voicemail system and email and stuff, and you don't have to take up much of their time in order to keep in touch with them. And you know what the worst, you know what's so crazy? I keep in touch with Don Storms. I keep him more up to date than my guys who need more of their upline's time than I do, than my downline keep in touch with me. And so it's just about a thinking process. If you can get it straight. You heard Dexter, because he goes away sometimes 5 days a week with David. Just to make sure, he stays on track. If you guys can keep that in mind, you'll go places. See you at FEC. Ciao.